Well, hello. Welcome to the Mayor's Brief. My name's Lige, Daughtridge, City Councilman for Ward 5, joined with Tom Harris with City Councilman for Ward 6. And we're here to go over what went into the Committee of the Whole on June 12th and the City Council meeting. Tom, good to see you.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be here, Councilman Daughtridge. Beautiful day outside, but we got a lot accomplished, but we have a lot more to do before we can pass the budget in 2 weeks.
That's right. That's big on our agenda. The Committee of the Whole really was, we had a presentation by Alan Matthews talking about our population base and the retail, how much retail is involved in our area. And I thought it was a informative discussion. What is your take on that, Councilman?
Yes, it was. Alan has done a good job of identifying two prospective retail businesses, whether they're franchise organizations or one-offs, about what Rocky Mount in the area offers. We have certainly seen some nice retail establishments come. The big hit, of course, we all know is Sam's going in the former location where Tarrytown Mall was.
Right.
But there's a lot of activity, and it's good to see a lot of retail growth. But we also need to focus on industrial and manufacturing, which he works with Norris Tolson and others about what this area really offers in all terms of business development, not just retail.
Well, on that note, I guess we'd be remiss not to mention the visit last week by the President Biden and his wife, Dr. Biden, and talking about Nash Community College and the community college system in general, training our workforce to fill jobs in manufacturing and other jobs. That was exciting for Rocky Mount for us to be highlighted, frankly.
It certainly was. It's great to have the President and First Lady here. The future lies in a proper, well-trained workforce. Mm-hmm. And hopefully we can put things in place that will continue to emphasize our youth and young people of trade opportunities, robotic opportunities, other things that they can earn a good living with opportunities that will be forthcoming in our area.
Right. And then in hitting back on Alan Matthews, one thing that I was excited to hear Alan talk about was the four county region. Because often we think about just Nash and Edgecombe counties because we're in Rocky Mount, but really, we need to think more regionally, because what impacts Wilson impacts Rocky Mount, and we live off of the success of each other and the challenges. So
very true. We got north of us Roanoke Rapids, and south of us Wilson, and all areas in between. And
right,
it is a 4-county region.
That's right. So one thing that Alan did hit on was he gave a bunch of stats talking about the 95 and 64 I-87 corridor, and just off of the slide, 4.2 million residents within a 2-hour drive to that spot, and that's pretty impressive to have that number of folks within a
it really is. Yes, it is.
So things have increased dramatically since I've seen some of this stuff over the years. But so we've got a lot of exciting things that can happen with that 95 project going on, and 64. And then we also, in the committee of the whole, I think that led also into other parts of Rocky Mount, kind of the Raleigh Road, 64 exit crossings at 64 over there, and then further south Rocky Mount. So, which are areas that we need to work on. And I forget if it was Councilman Knight or Blackwell that mentioned the southern corridor, because we've got the northern corridor with the Tom Betts freeway, or that's not a freeway, but bypass. And I don't know about you, but I think we do need to do something, or DOT. It would be nice if DOT did something, because it would open up that area.
I think it'll be a wonderful opportunity, but it's not going to be done overnight. But we got to start the planning now, so it can eventually happen.
Right.
But we need a concentrated effort on industry and and other business development downtown and East Rocky Mount, but all around Rocky Mount too.
Right.
So,
Right.
but the more that we can get businesses to come here, the more success overall our citizens will enjoy.
That's right. Certainly right. Well, let's move over to the our 7 o'clock meeting that we had. Yeah, I'm going to let you talk about the Lions Club because the Lions Club presented or recognized some of our firefighters and police officers that were by their peers. So if you want to talk about that, I think that's a great thing.
You know, Dr. Cameron presented to the Fireman of the Year and the Policeman of the Year annual awards that the Rocky Mount Lions Club gives. But these awards are voted upon by the rank and file of the police department and the fire department.
Right.
And congratulations go out to firefighter Charles Sproul for being recognized as the firefighter of the year, and Corporal William Mayfield being recognized as the policeman of the year. Our firefighters, our policemen, and other EMS personnel do a fantastic job. And it's great that peers select annually a firefighter and policeman of the year.
I agree wholeheartedly, and thank you to the Lions Club for doing that. And so going in, we had a consent agenda. Nothing. A lot of it was mundane. We did pull off item D, which was a consideration of a quit claim deed for part of the area around the ballpark off of Howell Street and Nance Street. And so that was actually ultimately tabled. Any
That's
comments
correct.
there or I think the big thing that we pulled off the agenda at your request, actually, I think was H and I, which was the consideration of really for it all dealt around our borrowing and going in front of the LGC and trying to
That's
borrow money
correct.
for the fire station number 2 and some other things. Do you want to speak on that?
Well, before we do that, Councilman Daughtridge, item G, which was a part of the consent agenda that we all approved, concerned the 23 action plan for the Down East Home Consortium.
Right.
A lot of information was included in that. I commend Ms. McGee and her staff for putting this report together. But one thing that's in that report is the matter of homelessness. We have a serious problem here. No city has escaped from this serious issue. But I think homelessness is something that we need to continue to take a look at and encourage businesses and foundations, whatever. How can we properly support those organizations that provide benefits to the homeless?
Right.
But that was a great report, and I want to commend Ms. McGee for that.
Right.
Regarding the matters regarding the construction of the new proposed firehouse, as you indicated, it originally years ago was 4.1 million, and now it's going up to 11.1 million maximum.
Yeah, let's clarify.
Let's hope it is going to be no more than that. That's a lot of money, and I just felt like with that size of a potential installment debt obligation that we need to pull it out and have some discussion. And my only comment was, and I said it at the council retreat in Durham, said it at a budget workshop meeting, on these large projects, we as a council need to be kept informed periodically of where we stand when such projects are being constructed.
Right.
If you're building a house or a building, if I'm building a house or building, I have an initial estimated amount, and I'll follow how it goes.
Right.
And we as the council need to be aware of these projects as they are being built.
Right.
And if at the end that the project cost is way less than what was in the CIP that we're going to be approving, or way less than anticipated borrowing amount, we need to know how much of a savings and what the intended uses of those savings are going to be.
Right.
Are they going to be shifted elsewhere or go back into the general fund? We just need to know. More importantly, if such projects, and I don't know many that have come within budget, regardless of what kind of project, improvement to your house or whatever, those that go over budget, we need to know as quickly as possible, and we need to know how those budgeted overage are going to be financed,
Right.
or how it's going to be handled.
Yeah. Well, I think, you know, as we discussed at the meeting, I wanted to make clear to everyone there, and also I want to make it clear now. When I first read this, I thought we were approving the construction cost and like you mentioned previously, it was $4.1 million estimated, not even a year, right at April a year 22. And when I saw the 11.1 million, it just all kinds of red, flags went up in my head, and that concerns me. I know costs have increased dramatically. We've got labor issues. We've got, supply issues. Supply issues. We have it all, but for it to more than, I think it was like 175% increase, or maybe 191% increase. It just, but when it was explained that we were just approving the construction, not the construction, but the consent to borrow the money or go to the LGC and ask for that amount, I felt better. So then I voted in favor of it. But as you have articulated, I do believe we need to have a better accounting than what we've had in the past, or at least the transparency on that piece. The other piece is before, hopefully when it comes up for the construction, we will know, get an update on what the costs are going to be, because I could see realistically, a certain percentage, but not more than doubling.
Right.
So,
well, knowing the city, they'll go out and solicit bids from reputable contractors, right. And hopefully we will see the results of those bids, and it'd be great if we can see it substantially less than total project amount of $11,100,000.
That's correct. So another item that was pulled off the agenda was item J, which was the consideration of an offer from Glendon Forest Equity on behalf of Dollar General to purchase property off of Cokie Road, which is the old Planter's Mill, for $200,000. We had a lot of comment in the public comment section about that, and then a lot of discussion during the meeting among the council. Anything you want to, and it was ultimately, I think, I don't know if it was tabled, but we did not, well, it had to be tabled because we didn't entertain anything on that.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, again, I do not go back as far as some of the other council members. This was previously a brownfield site. Mm-hmm. A lot of environmental waste, or whatever you want to call it, and that's been cleaned up, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
But the city, this is a property the city owns.
Correct.
And it's hopefully we can find a business, if it's not Dollar General, some of the citizens who spoke before us, hopefully we can find someone who can make an investment on that property that will benefit that whole area around Cokie Road. And but that's an asset that hopefully we can recoup some money in the very near future, and let's try to find the right business if it's not going to be Dollar General.
Right. Well, we certainly there's a lot surrounding this, and I appreciate everyone's view on that. I can understand why some people might not want a particular business there. But I think one thing that we have to keep in mind, especially about that particular area, we've got to address the issue of why our business is not locating in certain parts of the community. Is it because, when you look at the numbers, maybe from a investment standpoint, it doesn't pan out for whatever criteria that those businesses have? Is it have anything to do with concentration or maybe not as big a concentration of people in those areas? Does it have anything to do with the crime? Does it have anything to do with there's a lot of issues that it could, the median household income, and that's what I think everybody needs to understand. We can't tell what businesses go where. Now, in this case, we can choose who we sell the property to, but we have to do it where it's above board, because that we can get in trouble on that as well.
Right.
So,
well, another concern is some of the housing conditions, not just that particular area, but in all parts of Rocky Mount. And going back to the committee of the whole meeting with Mr. Matthews, one of the things that you mentioned several times, and I support, is we got to look at some codes and see that they're being enforced. But we've got to, and part of the plan is to come up with a housing plan, but we have got to come up with a strategic plan on what we can do to make all of Rocky Mount better.
Right. Well, and you brought up the thing about the code enforcement. My viewpoint on that is we do have existing code. I don't think we enforce it the way we should, or maybe in some cases at all. And I would like to learn more about that. But the other thing that's my understanding is we don't have much code enforcement ever on commercial. I'm of the mindset that we enforce the code on residential, and we need to enforce the code on commercial, in addition to pushing residents and commercial properties to keep their property clean, and pick up the trash. And then we also, I'm in favor of enforcing the litter laws. I mean, if a police officer sees litter being thrown on the ground, I think something needs to be done about that, because you change behaviors that way.
That's only time to change behaviors at times is to assess some kind of a fine or penalty.
Yeah.
I think one of the council members, perhaps it was Councilman Joyner, the corridors as people enter Rocky Mount, whether it's Buck Leonard Boulevard or Raleigh Road or 64 Business or going by DeMille, Peachtree, those areas really need to be clean in those instances where we have unsightly properties.
Right.
Because when people visit Rocky Mount, especially people brand new coming off the interstate, we want them to have an initial good impression of Rocky Mount. Right.
Because then you never know. They may come back. They may tell their friends. They may be actually looking to start a business or looking for a new home. And I agree with you wholeheartedly. We need to, first concentrate on those corridors, and then, but I think all over in Rocky Mount we need to do that, because when I think you see a clean community, I think people start taking pride in our community. We have a lot of things that we should be thankful for, and we have a lot of great things going on, but also the visible, I think, subconsciously helps people take pride in their community.
Yes, it does. It really does. A lot of people work hard to have their personal residencies having a nice appearance.
Right.
And that should apply to the same businesses, owners. They should do a job of keeping their establishments up as well.
Right. So anyway, so that was taken off, and then that was the bulk of it. Was we did have the budget hearing, and we had, I think, about 3 or 4 speakers talk towards the budget, and a lot of it had to do with the pay and classification plan. There's been a lot of talk with the sanitation workers and concerns there. Any thoughts on the budget or the pay and classification conversation?
Well, I think Manager Rogers and his management team have done a good job of putting together a well thought out plan.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like this plan is going to be implemented. I believe the previous comp plan before I got on the council was kind of put together, but I don't think it was fully implemented.
Mm-hmm.
Am I right or wrong? Again, I wasn't on the council. But I think this is going to be implemented. I support the budget and the implementation of the comp plan. Let's get it so that everybody can see how it's going to impact them personally.
Right.
And Manager Rogers in the first budget session, if I'm correct, stated that after the implementation, let's give it a little time. If there are some things that just are not in sync,
Mm-hmm.
then those things can be handled by themselves,
Right.
and not impact the total comp plan.
Right.
But all employees are valued.
Right.
We need to go ahead and implement this plan, give Manager Rogers and his staff time for all of the department heads, supervisors to meet with their respective employee teams.
Right.
And we need to give that. But one of the things that I like in the budget, the Human Resources Department are going to increase staff by 2. And these are going to be primarily 2 individuals who are very knowledgeable and experienced in working with supervisors and department people on how to fairly do an evaluation. All employees need to be treated equally.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody should be given a fair understanding of their job performance.
Right.
And I think these 2 new hires over the next year is going to put some things in place for our supervisors to be better qualified, better trained. We all need to go to train from time to time. And such supervisory skills will pay off big time for all employees in the future.
Right. I agree. I want to echo, I think we need to implement the pay plan, and it, as you articulated, it can be adjusted if it needs to be. So I'm excited to see what the plan has. We committee of the whole 2 meetings ago, we received a presentation, and one thing that I did like in that presentation was it also pulled out, it was 3 different classifications, and I thought I think that's a good way to go.
Yes.
Because we have the enterprise funds, which are basically our utilities, and that's a very competitive area. We're competing with businesses, we're for-profit businesses and other governments, and that's a skilled set right there, and it needs to be pulled out. And so I applaud the manager and for suggesting that, and hopefully we'll implement it.
I look forward to it.
So, but anything else on your mind? Anything else you want to talk about? We've got just a few more minutes left.
Not really. I haven't spoken. Going back to my first retreat as a city council person, I thought it was a good retreat in Durham. The program facilitator did a very good job of keeping us on point, on focus. Housing is a big key, and the tour that we made in the city of Durham was both helpful and hopefully with cooperation of several organizations, we can look at some combination of public and private investment for housing.
Right.
I think Mayor Pro Tem Walker mentioned that there are minority enterprises out there who are willing to invest with the city of Rocky Mount or whatever municipality in those right opportunities. It's a combination of private investment, and they get a benefit, and the public investment, City of Rocky Mount, gets a benefit as well. But we all want more housing, better housing for all of our constituents. And what I really liked in the city of Durham is a lot of the mixed use housing there.
Right.
So, you know, middle income workers and all sorts of families living in a combined mixed use development. That's really what really kind of pleased me.
Right. Right. Well, it's a big, that's a tall order we have in front of us, and we don't have enough money to do it all. So to your point, that public-private is key.
Yes.
Because we can make the taxpayer money go even further with coupling that with private enterprise. Well, this is we don't have any time. Our time is up. So our next meeting, which will be Monday, June 26th, and that's where we need to approve the budget, because we don't have any more time for that, because our fiscal year begins July 1. So anyway, so I encourage people, if they have any questions, to call you or me or their council person if they have any questions regarding the budget, and we can see what we can do to answer those. But I look forward to seeing you on Monday, June the 26th.
Well, thank you, Councilman Daughtridge, and everybody. This weekend is Father's Day, so I hope everyone can enjoy time with family.
That's right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.